Right guys, it's Finn here, and welcome to my Europa League group stage prediction video. Now obviously yesterday I released my Champions League prediction video, and I thought it was only fair, although not as glamorous, not as glorious as the Champions League, that I did my Europa League predictions. Now saying that, although it's not the most glamorous top tier competition in the world, there are still some decent teams in the Europa League, and there are definitely some interesting groups that are going to be near impossible to predict. But you know what, I thought I might as well just give myself the impossible task anyway. Yes, people are going to make fun of me, but that's kind of the world we live in at this stage, and it's kind of the work area I live in, so I might as well still give it my attempt. But jumping straight into my Europa League predictions, we are going to start off with Group A. I mean, there's nowhere else where you would start. We're not going to start off with Group D, are we? But looking at Group A, we've got the likes of Brøndby, it's a Danish team. We've got Lyon, Rangers, and Sparta Prague. Now, looking at these four teams, I feel like by default, I'm going to have to put the Danish team Brøndby in fourth place, just because compared to the other three teams, I've seen a lot more from the other three teams in terms of what to expect from them, how well they can do. And in terms of third place, between Lyon, Rangers, and Prague, I'm probably going to put the likes of Prague. I might regret that though. Time of recording, they are currently first place in the Czech Republic League. They could really surprise us. We've seen one or two really good games from them, good moments over the last few years, and definitely have potential to cause a surprise. But between Lyon and Rangers, it just has to be between these two teams. And it's going to be tricky, you know, looking at Lyon. Yes, they've just lost the likes of Memphis Depay. That is going to be a huge loss. But they've also brought in the likes of Shaqiri, the Swiss Messi, if you may. And they also brought in the likes of Jerome Boateng. So those are two very good boosts for the club. I feel like Lyon could do well this season. Going to be interesting to see how they adapt without the likes of Depay. Obviously looking at Rangers, unbeaten in the Scottish League last season. They were fantastic under Steven Gerrard. Rangers could do serious bits. And it hurts me as a Manchester United fan to say that Steven Gerrard is doing an excellent job at the moment. But you know what? It is what it is. In terms of winning the group, I do feel like Rangers are going to cause an upset. I don't know what it is, just from the last year, what we've seen from them. I do think Rangers will win their group, and I think Lyon will be in second place. As I said though, it could go either way. Don't get offended if I don't put your group in first place, by the way. Someone has to come first, someone has to have come second. That's just kind of how it works. Moving on to the likes of Group B. Once again, really tricky. We've got the likes of AS Monaco, PSV, Real Sociedad, and SK Sturm Graz. Once again, just in terms of default compared to the other three teams, don't think they're as strong. I am going to put SK Sturm Graz in fourth place. Once again, could be a team that could surprise quite a few people in the Europa League this season. But just from what I've seen from the other three teams over the last year or two, they could really be impressive. And I think one of these three teams have potential to win the competition this season. Obviously, looking at AS Monaco, I mean, a few years ago, they won League One, but they've just been giving away all of their free players. I don't know what it is about them, but giving away the likes of Bernardo Silva, Kylian Mbappe, Bakayoko, the list goes on of fantastic players they've given away. I don't know what's wrong with them. But obviously, looking at PSV, although they have a fantastic squad, recently lost the likes of Marlin and Dumfries. Although the likes of Goetze hasn't looked bad for them, I do feel like PSV could suffer. Looking at Real Sociedad, I think Isaac is a fantastic striker with a lot of potential to him. David Silva in your midfield, I mean, he is just a midfield maestro. He always has the ability to perform. And in terms of the team that I think will come first, well, let's look at second and third first. Obviously, as I said, SK Sturm Graz in fourth place. I feel like Monaco or PSV will be in fourth place, and I think I am going to put the likes of, I'm going to go for Monaco. I was going to put PSV, but I've just seen Monaco underperform way too much over the last few years. And although maybe on paper to an extent, they have the better team, they've got the likes of Ben Yedder, I feel like they have underperformed over the last few years, and they're really going to have to push to impress me. So I am going to put them in third, and I am going to put PSV in second place. We'll have to see whether that's the outcome or not. I know I'm going to probably get a lot of hate from people because it might be wrong, but in first place, I'm going to put Real Sociedad. As I said, I think they've got a fantastic squad this season. Obviously, we were knocked out, I think, by Manchester United in the Europa League last season, and even then, I thought they were absolutely fantastic. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in Group B. Now, moving on to Group C, we've got the likes of, I think it's pronounced Legia Warsaw, or something like that. I'm not sure, I'm sorry. We've got Leicester City, Napoli, and Spartak Moscow. Now, once again, nothing bad against Legia. I think they have potential. Once again, like most of these fourth place teams, too surprised, but I am going to have to put them in 4th place just because looking at Spartak Moscow, we've seen fantastic things from them in the last few years. They've got a fantastic team in terms of the attack that they could build up. It is a team that is brilliant on the counter attack. Looking at Napoli and Leicester, obviously we've seen big things from them over the last few years. So I am going to have to put Legia in 4th place, Spartak Moscow in 3rd place, but that's only because Leicester City and Napoli look so strong as teams. Now, in terms of who's winning this group, I've got no idea. I feel like Leicester City, once again, they've got potential to bottle it. We all know it at this stage. I mean, they've lost some big games over the last few years and games that they definitely should have won, that they shouldn't have lost. And that is Leicester City's weak point. I feel like they win all the big games, but when it comes to smaller games, they just lose unnecessary points, and that's why they bottle things. Looking at Napoli, obviously they've got a fantastic squad. They've got Insigne, they've got Fabian, they've got Mertens, the list goes on. Osimhen, they've got a fantastic squad this year. They've got Koulibaly, the list goes on. So between Leicester and Napoli, I think Napoli will go through, and the reason I'm saying that is because I've seen way too many defensive errors from Leicester City so far this season. I mean, Söyüncü has not looked good. I feel like someone's paying him to not perform at the moment. I mean, giving away 2 or 3 easy goals at this point of the season, getting a red card for Turkey in the international break, something's up here. Who's paying you, Söyüncü? But I do feel like because of those defensive errors, I feel like Napoli will be in 1st place because they just look so strong, and Leicester in 2nd place. Once again, could go a different way though. Looking at Group D, we've got the likes of Royal Antwerp, we've got Eintracht Frankfurt, Fenerbahce, and Olympiacos. A seriously tricky group to look at. Looking at Olympiacos, obviously they lost their goalkeeper Sarr to the likes of Wolverhampton Wanderers. Going to be interesting to see how they cope. Looking at Fenerbahce, once again, fantastic team. They bring in fantastic players, maybe in the later ends of their careers, like Mesut Özil. We've got Eintracht Frankfurt, who recently lost Andre Silva to RB Leipzig, a big striker that they've lost. And Royal Antwerp, once again, has brought in some decent players over the transfer window. So looking at these 4 teams, it is going to be very tricky, but I think I'm going to put the likes of Antwerp in 4th place. In terms of 3rd place, I'm going to put the likes of, am I going to put Fenerbahce? I think I might put either Fenerbahce or Olympiacos there, either way. And then in 1st place, I'm going to put the likes of Eintracht Frankfurt. Yes, I know what I said, although they have lost the likes of Andre Silva though. Still think that they've got a really good squad going on at the moment. I think they've got brilliant players that definitely have the ability to perform. I think Hinterraga is a brilliant centre-back. We've seen that over the last few years. And just because of how they've performed in the last year or two, although they don't have their main man anymore, I think Eintracht Frankfurt will perform this season. Now moving on to Group E. Once again, guys, this is fire. There's so much firepower in the Europa League this season. More people need to watch it. We've got the likes of Galatasaray, Lazio, Lokomotiv Moscow, and Marseille in one group. You don't know how insane that is because all of these teams have potential to be in the Champions League, in my opinion. We've seen Lokomotiv Moscow really perform super well over the last few years, bring in some big names that we didn't expect, but I do think that they will in 4th place in their group, once again, just because what I've seen from Galatasaray, Lazio, and Marseille before. In terms of 3rd place, I think I'm going to put in the likes of either Galatasaray or Lazio. I think I'm going to put Galatasaray in 3rd place. Once again, I feel like Muslera is a fantastic goalkeeper. It's going to be interesting to see how Van Aanholt plays for them. But I do believe they recently lost the likes of Falcao, so that is going to be a big loss for them. But saying that, I don't think Galatasaray will perform poorly whatsoever. In terms of 2nd and 1st place, I feel like Lazio will be in 2nd place. Maybe I could be wrong. They could easily win their group. I mean, they've got Immobile up front, one of the best strikers in the entire world, in my opinion. They've got Milinkovic-Savic. The list goes on of how many great players they have. They could win it. But Marseille at the moment is just performing really, really well. And maybe not player by player is better than Lazio, but they're performing really well. Under is doing well up front. They brought in the likes of Guendouzi in their midfield. I think it's a really solid squad. They've got the likes of Dimitri Payet, the man himself. I think Marseille will perform well this season, and I think they'll win their Europa League group. Moving on to the likes of Group E, it is just a group full of really hard to pronounce names. I feel like in terms of drawing this group, it wasn't done by random. Someone was just like, okay, what are all the names we can't pronounce? Put them in one group. We've obviously got the likes of Ludogorets, we've got the likes of Midtjylland, we've got the likes of Curvena, if that's how you pronounce it, and we've got the likes of Braga. And looking at these 4 teams, I feel like between Ludogorets and Crvena, I feel like those 2 teams are going to be between 3rd and 4th place. Probably Ludogorets, I feel like, in 4th place. Looking at the likes of Crvena, if that's how you pronounce it, once again, I'm sorry if that's not. I do feel like that will be the team in 3rd place. We've actually seen really decent stuff from them over the last few years. We've seen them in the Champions League cause some really surprising results, and I wouldn't be surprised if they actually ended up sneaking into 2nd place. But in 2nd place, I'm going to put the likes of Michelin. We've seen some great players come from the Danish team over the last few years. Once again, losing Onaka or Onyaka to Brentford could be a huge loss for them in terms of their midfield. But once again, we've seen big results from them also in the Champions League. They could perform well. And in 1st place, I'm going to put the likes of Braga, who once again, maybe on paper, isn't the better team. Maybe Michelin is the better team on paper. But Braga has performed really well in the Portuguese league as of late. I think they've performed really well. They've got brilliant stars in their team. And I'm expecting a tiny bit of a shock result, to be honest with you. Now moving on to Group Group G. Fantastic group. We've got Bayer Leverkusen, Celtic, Ferencváros. I can't pronounce that. I didn't even pronounce it close to how you're supposed to pronounce that. And we've got the likes of Real Betis. Now looking at that once again, in terms of this group, I feel like the 3 star teams is going to be Leverkusen, Celtic, and Real Betis. Once again, we've seen stars come from these teams over the last few years. And Ferencváros, once again, sorry, that's not how you pronounce it. I'm going to have to put them in 4th place by default, because looking at the other 3 teams, they are just so strong. I mean, Celtic obviously slightly underperformed last season. It was very underwhelming to see the amount of points that they lost, especially compared to Rangers. Leverkusen has lost some big names over the last few years. I mean, the likes of Kai Havertz, Leon Bailey, the list goes on of excellent players that they've lost, and I think they will be hurt by it. The likes of Volland, they've got so many great players that they have lost. Look, defensively though, I feel like Leverkusen have a solid team, and that could really be their lifesaver. And obviously Real Betis obviously got the likes of Hector Bellerin in their right back position now. He's now gone on loan from Arsenal. I feel like they could also have a very, very solid team. In terms of the way this group will go out, as I said, this team is going to end up being in 4th place. In terms of 3rd place, I'm going to put the likes of Celtic, and then or am I? I don't know, it's tricky because we don't know how Leverkusen are going to perform this season. I am going to put the likes of maybe Leverkusen. You know what, I'm going to back their chances, even without their star players. I'm going to put Leverkusen in 1st, Real Betis in 2nd place, Celtic in 3rd, and then this team in 4th place. You know what, as I know, tiny bit of a bold statement, but that's what my feeling is. Now moving on to the final group in Group H, we've got the likes of Dynamo Zagreb, who obviously was excellent last season, knocked out the likes of Tottenham Hotspurs. We've seen them, Orsic and players like that in their attack. They can be brilliant moving forward. The likes of Genk, once again, another team that's been in the Champions League that has caused upsets. Rapid Vienna, obviously, once again, another team that could cause 1 or 2 upsets and take away valuable points that could impact goal difference. And obviously, West Ham United, finally in a European competition. It's going to be so entertaining to watch these teams. I do feel like Rapid Vienna is going to end up being in 4th place. I feel like in terms of 3rd place, it is going to be the likes of Genk. Once again, they do have brilliant players in their squad. But as I said, I've just seen way too much from Dynamo Zagreb and West Ham United to really underappreciate how much they can do in these competitions. Obviously, West Ham United going to be interesting to see how they play in a European competition. But in terms of how well they've done in the Premier League at the moment, the top scoring team in the Premier League, they've done so well, midfield-wise, attacking-wise, defensive-wise. They've added a lot of depth to their squad with some of their transfers. I mean, they've got the likes of Areola on their bench. They've added Kurt Zuma to their squad. Their squad is just looking so strong at the moment. And because of that, I'm going to say West Ham United to win their group and Zagreb in 2nd place. Once again, we've seen impressive stuff from Zagreb, but I've just been so impressed with West Ham United. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is my Europa League group stage prediction video for the 21-22 season. As I said, I did my Champions League video yesterday, so I just wanted to do justice to the Europa League, a really underappreciated league that, once again, although not top of the top, still has world-class teams. Guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Once again, if you did enjoy it, make sure to subscribe down below so that you don't miss content like this in the future. As I said, I'm thinking of doing weekly Champions League prediction videos this season, so if you don't want to miss that, make sure to subscribe down below. We are so close to 1,700 subscribers. I mean, eventually we'll get there. And also like this video down below if you did enjoy it. But guys, until next time, this has been Finn, FYNN. Enjoy the European football. Cheers.